from Crusader Caravans in Campbellfield, Victoria. Today in our handover tutorial we're going to be showing you how to use the fan force ovens in our Musketeer Aramis and Excalibur range. First we're going to show you we've got across the top here, which is unlike most manufacturers, we run a Reese's cooktop straight across the top. It means that we use different gas compliance when we have our cooktops and ovens fitted off, but it just means you have that ample bench space across the whole lot here. So what we're going to do is before you cook on the van, on the cooktop that is, we need to make sure we've lifted up that recessed cooktop, where you'll see a heap of warnings saying make sure everything's ventilated and make sure it's nice and cool before you close it. It doesn't like heat, it's a glue laminate. So those sort of things we need to pay attention to. So have a good read of those before you start cooking on it. This here, we're going to lift up the cooktop. So sometimes it's a bit stiff. I see people trying to be a bit gentle with it, but just give it a bit of a pull to lock it in while we're traveling. Very hard to hear with the microphone, but what we've got here is a little micro switch. So it's a little switch located in the cooktop with a little tab, and what that does is it activates the positive section within the cooktop, and it allows the gas and the 240 volt to actually flow through the cooktop and cook and work like a normal cooktop. This is a safety device, so if you happen to be cooking, this drops, it will drop that switch. It's going to cut the gas, it's going to cut the power, it's going to make sure that everything's above board and everything's nice and safe whilst you're using it, the little runs running around and stuff like that. When we typically do our handovers, we tell you worst case scenarios. So with little kids and stuff running around, we have isolation switches for the 240 side of the cooktop, because it's very hard to tell without, like, this is even warm, we've been doing a few practice tests with it, but this is still a little bit warm. Now, it's very hard to judge heat when it comes to these without sort of getting a bit of a smell. So this is up, and you don't realise, but the little ones come across and accidentally done that and ticked it over to 6. This is going to fire up because we're plugged in the 240 volt right now. So something to be really aware of, in all of the Crusaders from, I believe, 2018 upwards, it was a gas compliance or an electrical compliance that we obeyed. So what it is we've got a stove switch up here. Now this stove switch, which is clearly labelled stove, what it is, it allows the 240 power point for the cooktop on the 240 side of it, which controls the fan and the 240 element 240 cooktop on the top left hand side. It turns those items on. So what we want to do is when you're not using the van and when you don't need the van, you need to make sure that switch is turned off, because it's really important just to avoid any chance of any little ones being hurt or people forgetting, or it just makes another thing less worrisome when you're using the van. So now onto the gas. So what we've got here is we want this turned off just before we jump in. So this is the 240 elements cooktop. Now that is steaming hot. You definitely don't want to be touching. It's only been on a minute. We just want to be aware of that. So before we close this cooktop, we need that to cool down so we don't get those waves through the top of the bench top. Now onto the gas. So what we're going to do is we're just going to press in the gas. We're going to let a bit of gas come through. This guy here is then going to ignite just like you would at home. Nice and easy. It's got temperature adjustment, so we just fire that up, gas comes on, let it go through. It's really important. Sometimes these stay on, sometimes you need to bleed a line, especially with the oven. So right up, right down, nice and easy, off. So that cuts the gas, not going to fire through. One thing that's really cool with the MobiCool cooktop is you can actually remove these little guys here to give them a good thorough wash. And it's also got these little rubber stoppers to stop it bouncing around when you're traveling off-road. But if you are going to be taking on corrugated roads, you need to make sure you're going to drop those tyre pressures. Make sure that there's no jumping around and no damage to the cooktop, because as you can see, it's a beautiful cooktop, no damage, everything looks really nice and schmick, powder coated, really professional. So these guys are a Dometic appliance. Now, what we've got here is, which is really fancy, we've got a little light down the bottom here, so that turns on the oven, which is a bit cool. Haven't really seen this before in the caravan lifestyle products. So that's a little light. The oven and the grill, just as you would at home, we just press that in, fire away, a little igniter, fires up, gets nice and hot. Now, one thing, when they're brand new, you really need to burn them through. So what I suggest is you turn the oven on, you let it burn through, you let it just get all the gas through the lines, get it all ready to go. That way, no temperature drops, it's not going to drop the flame, it just keeps it going nice and through. We get a lot of questions about that all the time. Last but not least, we'll turn this switch on here. Now, that is and you can probably just hear it, it's our fan. So it's a fan forced oven. It just promotes, obviously a little bit of baking on the road just to get a little bit nice and crisp on it. So you just want to make sure that that fan switch is on. That's a 240 fan. And you just pop your light off here. When you're done, you close all this up. We shut this down back into a lock position, and we close this after it's all cooled down here so we can continue using our bench top. That's a tutorial video as to how to use our ovens. If you've got any questions or queries, please just give us an email to michael@crusadermelbourne.com or phone us on 03 9359 2938. Like and subscribe for more videos. Thank you very much.